say that on that first drive, the near interception, he feels like that kind of dialed you in. Did you feel the same way, that like almost making a costly mistake kind of helped you lock in for the rest of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I know better than that, right? I was trying to make a play. I knew, Zay was open early, but I just tried to do too much, you know what I mean? After that, right, I was like, all right, just take a deep breath, right? Just relax, go do what I do, make the easy part easy, and just, calm down and go through my reads. And so after that, I felt like I really just, took in the experience and just played ball.
So I know you weren't obviously starting at quarterback a season ago for the transition from Georgia to Vanderbilt, but how do you sense that you guys have flipped the page compared to last year between those two games?
Yeah, like you said, right, I wasn't playing, but I was on the team, and so I felt how it was last year, you know what I mean? But, the mentality of the locker room this week, right, is, what about, we remember, you know what I mean? Like, we remember what happened last year. What are we going to do about it? Even though it's not about last year, it's about us, we're not going to make the same mistake again. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to, they're not the same team last year, neither are we. You know what I mean? Like, they're better, and we're better in some ways. So, this is a top 25 matchup, College game day coming in here. Like, this is a really, really, really good Vanderbilt team. And if not one of the biggest games of the year, you know what I mean? So, we need to come in with the mentality like we have been all these past couple games, like a chip on our shoulder, and it's Alabama against the world.
Has Kadyn been campaigning for more targets this week after?
Yeah, he's trying to. He's told me the other day, he was like, I can catch the ball, now let's see if I can throw the ball. And I was like, no, you stick to catching and let me stick to throwing.
What was the success rate in practice for that play? Was that
so we ran it? Yeah, so we ran it a couple of times, right? And we ran it in camp against our defense. And we had told him, right, hey, like wipe off your hands, like we're coming to you, because it's freaking hot and sweaty, right? And he was like, all right. And we had read it a couple times to walk through. So sure enough, right, one of the scrimmages, we do it, we throw it to him, hit him in his chest, and he drops it. So we were campaigning, right, like, hey, get on the jugs just in case. So he's been great ever since, though.
Are all the old linemen on the jugs now? Are they?
No. They've been on the pads, on the blocking sled, so they're doing a great job.
Is there like a depth chart for that play? Like, who's next in line after Proctor?
Maybe two quarterbacks. We'll see. Keep you on your toes.
Have you met Diego at all from camps or anything like that?
I've not. I got a ton of respect for him, though, man. Like, he's a dog. He plays with a chip on his shoulder as well. Like, watching him and their highlights throughout, the season, man. Like, seeing last year, he gets a ton of respect from, Johnny Manziel. Like I said, man, ton of respect for that guy. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. And, it's going to be a good game, man. Like, we got a good defense. They got a good offense. So it'll be exciting.
You watched Johnny as a kid at all?
Oh, of course. Like, who didn't? You know what I mean? Like, it'll be it'll be good. He's going to be here, right? I saw, Theo Vaughn came through here. I know he's close with, Diego. Just a ton of respect for him, man. And those guys on offense at Vanderbilt do a really good job. So, we need to do a good job this week of, just being on our P's and Q's, right, and understand all the versatile stuff that those guys do, and just, be us.
A lot of talk about, poise and confidence on the road at Georgia. Like, heading into week 5, do you feel, I guess, confident in your ability to run Ryan Grubb's scheme? And is like, where are you at, I guess? Like,
yeah, I have a ton of confidence, right? It's because of that guy right there, It's one of, my center, right? It's the guys around me. It's the coaches. It's my team in general. Like, there's no other, place in the country I want to play for. There's no other guys in the country I want to play with. You know what I mean? Like, be on the field with those guys, like, gives me comfort. My Lord and Savior gives me comfort. Just being able to play football, because I felt like I didn't take it for granted, but, I just missed it the last couple of years, you know what I mean? Like, being able to compete all the time and compete every day, like, it just is a different type of feeling. So being able to step on the field with those guys is just a blessing and, a great opportunity.
Tyler Booker showed up wearing your jersey on Sunday Night Football. Parker was saying that he called you after the game in Georgia. What's your relationship still like with him, and how much was his leadership still felt in this locker room?
Yeah, no, I mean, he called me and Parker on the bus after the game, right? Like, he probably called me 3 times, between kickoff and then, after the game. Like, he was as tuned in as he could be, like he was on the team, right? But Book is why I'm here. Book is why I stayed. You know, pretty much, right? Like he's my best friend. We came in together. We literally like, you know, on our official visit, we were there together. You know what I mean? And we kind of talked, and we were like, "Are we coming?" And we were both like, "Why not?" You know. And so, you know, in the you know the circumstances that I had, you know, I talked to him about a lot of stuff, and you know, he's one of my best friends, right? And you know, Parker is one of my best friends. Those guys who protect me, and you know, him wearing my jersey Sunday Night Football, he called me like, you know, what a guy, man. Like, you know, he didn't have to do that, but I love him to death. And you know, him being not on the team, but always talking to us is a huge, you know, it happens. His voice is still heard, you know what I mean? Because we have a ton of respect for him and guys like that.
Hey, Ty, so that pass to Kadyn Proctor, were you scared that he was going to drop? Were you nervous at all?
No comment.
Come on, bro.
No, I had full confidence, you know what I mean? I was just worried about, you know, the center and making his call.
What have you seen from Miles Capers on film as a pass rusher?
Man, he's the real deal. He flies upfield. He flies around the ball. They get the ball out, you know, on the whole defense. Like, you know, these guys are, you know, very physical, very fundamentally sound, man. Like, you know, we've been harping all week, all practice, right, about like being disciplined and, you know, making our calls right and playing with good technique, right, because that's what's going to separate us, you know, this week. Like these guys, you know their scheme, they know what to do, they know their calls. And we just need to, you know, make sure, right, that we, you know, it's all about us. We said it last week, right? You know, great technique, great calls, great execution, right? Because these guys, you know, understand what they do. They're physical, they fly around, and they play for one another. So, you know, they play great complementary football, and, you know, we just need to make sure, right, that we're on the right mindset.
You've gotten a few games under your belt now. What is it like being a leader at the University of Alabama?
It's a dream come true. You know what I mean? Like I came here, you know, wanting to be a captain, wanting to have the opportunity to lead a team to a championship, right? You know, always dreamed about playing the SEC, playing in big time games like this one, like having college game day here. And then, you know, the fact that I get to, you know, put my foot in, you know, Denny Chimes and be, you know, represented for the rest of my life as an Alabama captain and bring my kids back here one day and my grandkids, like what more could you ask for? You know what I mean? Like this is the mecca of college football, and the fact that God's given me the opportunity and the platform to be here is, you know, amazing. I thank Him every day that, you know, I get to live out my dream.
Ty, what do you remember? Sorry, you already mentioned this a little bit, but what do you remember from the Vanderbilt Field storm last year? Like what emotions went through?
Yeah, it hurt. I'm gonna be honest, right? You know, one being from Tennessee, you know, Nashville. I remember visiting Vanderbilt, and then two, you know, the fact that like, you know, we had, you know, just found our identity with a big win like we did last week. You know what I mean? And so the fact that we went in there and, you know, we didn't play our best and they stormed the field, right? Nobody likes a, you know, field storm. So, you know, that's in the back of our mind, and, you know, we don't want to remember last year, but we also want to understand that, like, last year happened. It can't just go away, right? But it's all about us in this year, you know what I mean? Like, they're not the same team as last year. If, you know, they're better than they were last year, right? And we're better than we were last year in some ways, you know what I mean? So, you know, we need to understand that, like, we're focused on us, focused on what they do, on their scheme, right? But it's all about us, you know, keep a chip on our shoulder. Alabama against the world, and, you know, we're the man in the arena, right? No matter where we play and who's it against, right? We're the gladiators, and that's the Coliseum.